I believed then, based on the experiences I had here, that not everyone who disagreed with me was my enemy, that I might be wrong, that as forcefully as I pursued anything I believed in and any argument that I embraced, I had to always be willing to listen to others. And that in the interplay, the dialectic between my position and another, the searching for more facts, the searching for better arguments, and frankly, just facing the evidence of what did and didn't work and what the consequences of various courses were, that I would come to a better place as a public official. I believed that then. I believe that now. You heard in President DeGioia's remarks, I wonder how many college presidents even quote Latin anymore. I loved it. The same conviction. When I gave these Georgetown speeches, they allowed me to set out this construct of equal opportunity, shared responsibilities, inclusive community, an aggressive approach to engagement with the rest of the world. I thought that they were consistent with the traditional American values of work and family, freedom and responsibility, faith and tolerance. That as a Democrat, I was being faithful to Andrew Jackson's credo of opportunity for all and special privileges for none, to President Kennedy's call for mutual responsibility and citizen service, and to Franklin Roosevelt's commitment to continuous innovation, to bold, persistent experimentation. I also asked there and throughout the '92 campaign for a political debate that engaged these themes, that moved away from what I then thought was an unacceptable level of partisanship and rancor and a tendency to let elections turn on issues that had nothing to do with the decisions that leaders would make after the election was over or the consequences on ordinary people's lives. Politics of division and personal destruction. I frequently cited in that year a book that was written that I think has special relevance today, even though for all of you 15 years is a lifetime ago. And I swear this was in my notes before I saw him in the audience, but E.J. Dionne, this distinguished columnist for the Washington Post, wrote a book called Why Americans Hate Politics. And the central thesis was that Americans hate politics because it seems irrelevant to them and they feel like they're being manipulated because they're always being asked to make false choices. You're either pro-labor or pro-business. You're pro-growth or pro-environment. You're for a strong national defense or for trying to make an agreement with everybody no matter how crazy they are. That there's always an either-or choice. And the truth is, most of us don't think that way, most of us don't live our lives that way, and most of us long for a politics where we have genuine arguments, vigorous disagreements, but we don't claim to have the whole truth and we don't demonize our opponents, and we're really trying to work on what works best for the American people. Everybody knows this, kind of down deep in their gut. That's why I've gotten such a strong response to the work I've done with former President Bush since I left office on the tsunami and on Katrina, and with former Senator Dole, who was my opponent in '96 when we raised $100 million to guarantee a college education to the spouses and children of all the people killed or disabled on 9/11. It's not that we want a bland, mushy, meaningless politics. We like our debates. The country has been well served by its progressive and by its conservative traditions. We understand that campaigns will be heated and only one side can win. But we want it to be connected somehow to the real lives of real people, to the aspirations of ordinary Americans, to the future of our children and grandchildren. Now, this sort of politics striving for the common good, for me, stands in stark contrast to both the political and governing philosophy of the leadership in Washington today and for the last 6 years. The more ideological right-wing element of the Republican Party has been building strength partly in reaction to things that happened 40 years ago, to Barry Goldwater's defeat, to what they saw as the excesses of the 60s. It got a lot of legs when President Reagan was elected, but this is the first time when, on a consistent basis, the most conservative, most ideological wing of the Republican Party has had both the executive and the legislative branch, with a very distinct governing philosophy and a very distinct political philosophy, where us common good folks favor equal opportunity and empowerment. They believe the country is best served by the maximum concentration of wealth and power in the hands of the right people, right in both senses. We believe in mutual responsibility. They believe that, in large measure, people make or break their own lives, and you're on your own. We believe in striving, at least, to cooperate with others because we think that there are very few problems in the world we can solve on our own. They favor unilateralism whenever possible and cooperation when it's unavoidable. And you may think that's laughable, but even today in the press, there's a story about the administration's new policy on national security and space, which points out that 160 nations were asked to vote to begin negotiations, not to prejudge the outcome, just to begin negotiations on making outer space weapons-free, and the vote was 159 to 1 to do it. We were the only country that didn't do it.